Hey there, it's Walt Hampton.
And it's 𝗟𝗘𝗧𝗦.
And we've been thinking more on the topic of how to work remotely with your partner or spouse.
Particularly if you haven't done so before, particularly if all of a sudden people are coming home and you've got to somehow manage that.
And we take this for granted. We've been doing it for 14 years and it wasn't always second nature for us, and it's second nature, and there are things that we do day in and day out that we've begun to unpack and we want to share with you because we think they're actually secrets to making it a whole lot easier. And the first one is get up and get dressed.
Okay. This seems like stupidly simple, but here's what happens when you come home for the first time and you're not in an office. You wear your pajamas and you wear your sweatpants and you stop putting makeup on and you put your hair in a ponytail and you start wearing the same t-shirt day in and day out until it dries up and it falls off your body.
And that impacts your mindset. It impacts the way you show up. It impacts your self-image. It impacts the way others perceive you. It impacts your energy signature. It impacts everything. And we get up every day and you take a lot of time because, you know, you look beautiful every day, day in and day out.
Thank you.
And I spend a lot of time with my hair.
This is how you stay home together. You learn how to say, "Oh my God, you look amazing."
Yes.
Well, you look amazing.
Do you like my hair the way I've done it today?
It looks amazing. It looks amazing.
I think this discussion though about getting up and getting dressed also brings us to the question of pants. You know, when you work remotely like this, nobody really understands whether you don't really need pants.
You can wear.
No. We've discovered.
You can do a lot of stuff.
We've discovered that pants aren't really optional, particularly when the post lady comes to the door. So you should get up and get dressed and wear pants.
Right. And if you wear makeup, put on makeup. If you do your hair, just like a lot of us remember what it's like to be new mothers. And then you just let yourself go because it feels crazy. It's a big disruption of your routine. And one day you wake up and you're like, wow, this is so not working. Well, what we're saying is just start doing it now because there is a big disruption in your life. And this routine where you're just taking care of yourself like you're going to be around people. And, you know, we're around each other. So it kind of helps to not look like holy hell for each other. But okay.
So get up, get dressed as if you were going to work. The second thing that we want to talk about today is the importance of actually having routines through the day.
So we were talking about what we wanted to share with you today on our morning run. So we have a routine. We're up in the morning, you know, Walt gets up, an hour or so before me. We could go through our whole routine, but I can tell you based on the time what he's doing. He knows that at 12 o'clock, I'm going to go in the kitchen and I'm going to make lunch. I know, we know what to expect. We're pretty boring people.
You're not boring.
No. Walt's a pretty boring person. I'm not boring.
I am boring.
Walt's really boring. And that routine, it just keeps us moving forward. It's like the ringing of the class bell in school. It's time for social studies. Ring. It's time for science. And that routine helps people, namely us, ground ourselves.
And so having routines reduce the decision overload that so many of us suffer with in the ordinary course. And now we've got all sorts of other stuff that's on our mind. So the more that we can routinize things, so we routinize our healthcare, we routinize our daily schedules around our morning meetings and when we break for lunch, and we all through the day, you can, as you say, we can kind of predict each other's behaviors because we have routines.
I love predictability. I mean, and we do have the subroutine. Even as silly as this is, our runs are, we have a Monday run, we have a Tuesday run. We're like, yeah, let's, we know where we're going to go for our run on Sunday. That's how routinized we are.
And I make breakfast, and you make lunch, and I build the fire in the afternoon,
and I take the garbage out. I mean,
and sometimes we argue about the blender because
the
we're not
blender.
really routinized around the.
Like, I don't understand.
I want to talk with you about the blender.
What's the problem with washing the blender? Just get your hand in there, wash the freaking blender. Okay.
And we don't, in all seriousness, we don't. We step in for one another.
Yeah.
It just, we know what needs to get done, and we don't argue in all seriousness
Right.
about what needs to be done or when. We just step in and we push the routines through the day. And then the third thing that we want to share with you today is that we have a hard stop to the end of the day. It's, I only jokingly say in my Power Principles of Time Mastery keynote that the great thing about being an entrepreneur is that we have the freedom and the flexibility to work whatever 18 hours of the day we want. And when we're home working remotely, it's not always easy to tell where the boundaries are between working and playing and living.
Yeah. I mean, we, for the most part, will stop working around 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And we can be idiots. We can find ourselves being drawn back. And I think we both will say, hey, you at the net still.
Yeah.
And we'll pull each other back. I mean, one of the great things about working with each other is we know what draws our attention. We know when we're under stress what we do, and we both tend to work when we're under stress.
And so we'll call each other out on that.
We call each other on
Yes.
our silliness, like, hey, step away from the net. It's time to settle in and do something else. And
we have a routine at the end of the day where we build the fire when it's fire season, and we have our hummus and our crackers and our seltzer, and we talk about the day, and we move into our dinner. We have an evening that's not about working remotely, by and large.
Yeah.
And so
if you don't, oh my God, we'll have a video on that.
Yes, we
sometime.
will.
What happens when business takes over everything?
So 3 things today just to think about. Getting up and getting dressed. Question of pants, we'll leave that to you. Having routines and subroutines through the day, and having a hard stop at the end of the day. We hope this helps. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.